Hey everyone, welcome back to M&MM IELTS. This is Manmohit. Now in today's video, I am going to discuss in detail with you all about a topic from the reading module of your IELTS. And the topic is diagram label completion. Obviously, diagram label completion was in the listening module as well. So it's kind of similar in the reading section, as in it's still going to be a diagram with few different blanks given where we have to fill the information. But this time we are not going to listen to an audio because it's not a listening task. Here you would be given a paragraph where you need to find that information from because it's a reading task. Now obviously there's IELTS academic and IELTS general. So obviously if you're giving academic or general, your reading module would be a bit different. The only major difference, long story short, is going to be the kind of passages, the kind of paragraphs that you get in the reading section. If it's an IELTS academic, then you can expect more academic kind of paragraphs, big, long, bulky paragraphs taken from newspapers, articles, and all that stuff. Whereas if it's a general kind of exam, IELTS general, in there, it's still going to be 3 questions. It's still going to be 40. It's still going to be 3 paragraphs. It's still going to be 40 questions. But then the paragraph length is going to be a bit shorter. They would make few little paragraphs in a question, not just giving you 1 or 2 big paragraphs. And the paragraphs would be from your everyday life. Like it could be a menu of a cafe, it could be menu of a restaurant, it could be a schedule, a sports schedule, it could be some sort of a wedding invitation. So anything general, anything everyday thing that you see, that's the only difference in IELTS general and IELTS academic. The rest, the type of questions, everything remains exactly the same. So let's understand this topic in a bit more detail as to how this works. So first thing first, as we know the name of the topic, which is diagram label completion. So what happens is, like in the listening module, you would be given some sort of a diagram, and they would have some sort of blanks associated with them. Let's say question number 20, question number 21, question number 22, and there would be a blank next to it. And obviously there would be a lot of text also given to you, so you have to kind of understand what the questions are asking from you, and based on that you have to find that from the given text. Next thing is, you have to understand what the question is all about. Always and always read the question headline. I cannot stress that enough. And the reason is, if you do not read the question correctly, if you do not understand the question correctly, high chances that you will not get your scores, because you will lose marks in those questions because you're not satisfying the criteria of those questions. The questions will always say something like 1 word answer only, or it may say just have 2 words only, or 2 words and or a number. So it is very important to read the instructions of the questions, because that will give you a bit of an idea, a bit of an understanding as to what information are you after. When it say no more than 2 words and or a number, it clearly means that you can have 2 words, as in an elephant, and or a number. So and, that means there could be another thing, and that can only be a number. This is absolutely correct. If you would have written an elephant 3, now you might feel that you have written 3 as a number, but that is extremely wrong, because you have written 3 words now, and the question said no more than 2 words. And or a number. Now you can also not say, for example, just giving you a random example, something like 3, 1 elephant 3, because right now you have written 2 numbers. They only said a number. Means one number. So in that case, this is again going to be wrong. So you can pick and choose here. You can even write 1 elephant 3, or you can even write 1 elephant 3. 3 as in THREE. So 2 words and a number. As long as you satisfy the criteria of the question, you should be all good. That is why reading the instructions is very important. That is kind of the backbone of your reading section, also in the listening section. Numbers, like we just did, we can write them down as either numbers or figures. Both of them are correct. If you are unsure about the spellings of the numbers, prefer going with numbers, not the spellings. Let's say they say 20 now, or 8th, for example. And if you're not sure about the spelling of the word 8th, I will always go with ATH, like this, not 8th because yes, that is correct, but then you don't want to mess up with your spellings for no reason. Second thing is, let's say you have written 25 students and the question said that you cannot have more than 2 words. Then what you can do is, 25 is one word, you can put a hyphen in that, because the moment you put a hyphen in between 2 words, it is counted as one word, and then this one would be one word as well. So always have 2 separate words. If you have written 3, that means you have got something wrong, so always correct that. One of the biggest challenge that students face in the reading module is not the type of questions, but because the questions here in the reading section are not in the sequence. Now that's a bummer. So if you remember in the listening videos, we discussed that if they have, let's say 20, let's say that's a diagram, they have written 20 here, 21, 22, 23. When you start listening to the audio, you will hear the audio in the sequence, as in they will give you the answer for 20th first, then 21st, then 22nd, then 23rd. In the reading section, they do not follow the sequence. So they can, in the passage, they can have the answer for question number 23 at the top, whereas answer for question number, let's say 21st at the bottom, answer for 20th in the middle. So they can follow any sequence. That is why we have to be very careful in reading. You have to develop your reading habit so that with minimal amount of time, you're getting most of the answers correct, because they will not be given in the sequence. Now, this is one tip I can give you. Now, I'm not saying this will work every single time, but so many of the times I've seen that, let's say they have given you 3 paragraphs, for example. And then for the diagram label completion, you have got 4 questions, 20, 21, 22, and 23. Most likely what I've seen is they'll give you the answer for all the questions in just 1 paragraph for some weird reason. I mean, yes, the answers can be in, let's say 1 or so answers can be in a different paragraph, but most likely this is what we have seen. All the questions for this diagram labeling question will be given to you in just 1 paragraph, which obviously makes it a lot easier, because once you find the correct paragraph, you know that most of your answers will be taken from that very same paragraph. Now, I'm not asking you to take my word for it. Do not just spend all your time of the reading module just in 1 paragraph trying to find every single answer. But yes, most of them you will find in 1 paragraph. There may be a chance that there could be 1 or 2 questions which may be in a different one, but then that will involve a lot of reading. Another quick tip I can give you, especially for the academic exam. Now, it does apply to the general exam as well, but especially in academic, you will see that they have given you such a lengthy paragraph, like it's 300 words, roughly 250, 300 words, sometimes even more than that. Now, in that case, if you start reading out every single word from start to finish, trust me, you will never be able to manage your time in the reading section. People struggle with time management in the reading. Now, in my exam, I was able to complete my reading with about 15 minutes to spare by completing all the 3 questions. And the trick and the tip that I used in the reading module was never, ever read the complete paragraph. It is not going to work. Always make sure you just follow the keywords. I mean, as strange as it sounds, I know you will not be able to understand the meaning of the paragraph. That's perfectly fine. That's IELTS. They don't give you that much amount of time. You just gotta read the keywords. If they say Adelaide is a very beautiful city, when I read out, for example, that's my paragraph. When I read it out, I am just going to read the keywords, which is Adelaide, beautiful city. This is something you need to skip out just for making sure that you never run out of time. Just read the keywords, because if you just read the keywords, it will still give you a better understanding of the paragraph as to what they are saying. As in Adelaide, beautiful city. I know Adelaide, beautiful city, that means it makes sense, right? So this is what you need to do. Just read the keywords as quickly as possible, and always make sure that the diagram that you have been given, you first of all understand what the diagram is asking from you. What are the questions being given to you? Because if you just start reading out the paragraph straight away, never ever do that. Because if you just read out the paragraph first, you don't even know what questions, you don't even know what sort of information you're looking for. You never know if there's something called dash centimeter. That straight away means we're looking for a number. Dash year, in dash year, for example. I straight away know I'm looking for a year 1994, or let's say 1875, any year. Always read the question first so that you know exactly what sort of information you're looking for. If I see I'm looking for a number, it makes my job a lot easier because I don't even have to go for the keywords. I start just skimming and seeing where are the numbers written, and wherever I see certain numbers written, I'll just start reading out that paragraph. I'll just start reading out the keywords of that paragraph straight away. So this is one thing that will definitely help. Always questions first, always read the questions first, and then start reading out the keywords of the paragraph, not the other way around. It will not work. And one another thing in regards to that is, if you cannot find the answer for a question, let's say you were stuck on question number, let's say 21st, and you spent about 2-3 minutes and you're not able to find that, please make sure you move towards the next questions. You just cannot afford to lose marks in the other ones. It's good to sacrifice one question for getting at least the next 5 to 10 correct. Now this is what I followed in my exam as well. I gave one paper-based exam, so I'm referring to that one. Even the computer-based is not different. I've given that one as well. Especially in the reading module, you still get 60 minutes on a computer. You still get 60 minutes on a paper-based exam. No difference in the time. In the paper-based, you would be given an answer booklet where you have to write down your answers. In the computer, obviously, you need to type down your answers. Not a big difference, but you always gotta make sure that this is what I did as well in my exam, that once I was not able to find the answer for, I think, 2 or 3 questions, I did not just wait and just started thinking about those answers. Otherwise, I would have never finished on time. Leave those questions for now. I'm not saying just skip them. Leave those for now. Have something in your mind. Have just keep a mental note of what questions you have skipped for now. Do the rest of the exam, let's say other 37-38 questions, and once you're left with remaining 10 to 15 minutes, which you should be if you follow the time management well. We will also be coming up with a time management video for the reading in the future very soon. With that, always once you're left with remaining time, that's when you go back to those questions. Never just start thinking about those ones. Otherwise, what would happen is, if you take a lot of time on the questions, you're not able to find the answers, you will start panicking for sure, and you will leave less time towards the remaining questions. And that will jeopardize your marks in those ones as well, because you will try to hurry up, you will try to panic and be quick in those questions, and ultimately making mistakes. So always, it's good to skip the questions for now, move towards the next ones, complete the rest of the exam, come back to these ones with a fresh mind. Now let's look at a question, and right now, as you can see, it's in regards to the dung beetles. I did not even have to read out the complete paragraph, but by just looking at the main keyword, I could figure out it's in regards to dung beetles, and that has been repeated multiple times as well. So that's an academic question. As you can see, 3 long paragraphs. They haven't divided it into sections and all that. And afterwards, that's a diagram that we have been given. 3 questions, question number 6, 7, 8, and then obviously they've given us the dung beetle types. Now, like I said, always read out the instructions of the question. It says label the tunnels on the diagram below using words from the box. That means you don't have to worry about finding the words from the paragraphs. They want you to label the diagram using the words from the box. Which box? This is the box that they're referring to. So your 6, 7, and 8, these answers will be any of these 6. If you just understand the diagram, what they are asking from here is, now I don't know what this paragraph is about. What I do know is that they have given us some cow dung over here. So it's something in regards to, plant, soil, and all that. So they have given us this cow dung, and underneath, I think that these are some sort of roots. Now, obviously, I'm not quite sure what this thing is, but then at least by looking at, the structure and all, I can feel that, okay, these are some roots under the ground, and then they have put some cow pat cow dung on top of those roots. On the left hand side, it says approximate depth in centimeters below surface. So 0, 10, 20, 30 centimeters. So they have given us some sort of length. Now, what they want us to identify is what sort of root is that, what sort of root is that, what sort of root is that. So if you would have just see, I did not even read the question. I did not even read the paragraphs yet because I would confuse myself. I'm just referring to what the diagram is asking from me. I can see that they're asking from me the name of these roots, I believe. And then they have given me the dung beetle types over here. Like, is that a French type? Is that a Mediterranean type? Is that an Australian native type? Is that a Spanish type? Is that a South African type? Or is that a South African ball roller type? Now, how would I be able to find out which type is what? I believe by looking at the approximate depth in centimeters, as in by looking at the length. So this will make my job easy because now I just need to find out these numbers and hopefully these keywords and see how long is French, as in what length is the French beetle type in terms of centimeters, what length is Spanish, Mediterranean, Australian native, and so on. Now looking at this one, if you see, that's the, let me just clear it off a bit just so it's a bit easier for you guys to see and understand. Now, if you just have a look over here, if you see about the average of this, that's the kind of thing, it's giving me roughly about 20, right? An average. It's, yes, it is a bit more than 20, but then that's just one layer. Other, if you just talk about the average, it's roughly between 10 to 20, but then it's mostly, it's reaching at 20. For this one, it's even exceeding 30, as you can see over here. And for 8th, it's just seeing at normally about 10. So this is one thing that I can keep in my mind, that 8th is almost about 10 centimeter. 7th is 30 plus centimeter. And 6th is roughly about give and take 20 centimeter. Now what I'll do is, since I know that the length is given, first I'll go to my paragraphs and try to find if in any paragraph there's any sort of length as in centimeters being given. So that will make my job a lot easier. So what I'll do is, I'll suggest you guys to pause this video at this stage and just have a quick squiz at these paragraphs. Just read out the keywords and try to find where those centimeter numbers have been written. Just take 1-2 minutes, as much as you need. Pause the video and find it out for me. I hope you did pause the video, and just to squeeze through that, I can see that in the first paragraph they haven't given us any sort of numbers, centimeters and all that, so most likely the answers will not be there. In these two, they have given 2.5 centimeter over here, so it can be here, or if you have a look, it gives me 30 centimeters here, 20 centimeters here. It doesn't say anything about 10 centimeters, but I can see that at least 2 of my answers will come from the very same paragraph. So this is another thing that I do. I did not read all the paragraphs. I just looked at the keywords, which is 30 centimeter, 20 centimeter. Now back to the question. Let's go with, now what I'll do is, I can see that French, Spanish, Mediterranean, Australian native, all these words. I'll try to find these answers and relate what centimeters are each. So what I want you to do now is, again, pause the video and just read out the second paragraph for me and try to understand if you can find any information from there and hopefully any answers. So again, pause the video, take your time, no rush. Right now, we are just understanding what the topic is. You will practice a lot after this video and you will improve in terms of speed and everything. But for now, just focus on getting your answers correct. So pause the video, here we go. Now right now, as you can see, it says if you read out this third sentence, some large species originating from France excavate tunnels to a depth of approximately 30 centimeters below the dung pat. So France, does that keyword look similar to any of these? Yes, it does. Which one is that? That would definitely be French. France, French, same thing. And what length did they give me? They gave me 30 centimeter. Okay, so 30 centimeter. Now, if you had a quick look over here on this one, 30 centimeter was this one roughly. So that means this is the beetle type that they're talking about. So I cannot write down France over here, even if that was given in the paragraph. They want me to use the words from the box. Word from the box says French. So my answer over here is going to be French. Again, so 30 centimeters is done. And if you remember, we have also been given 20 centimeter. Once I find that keyword, I'll start reading out that sentence as well. It says South African beetles. So South African beetles dig narrow tunnels of approximately 20 centimeter. Approximately 20 centimeters South African. If I go back to my question, 20 centimeter, which is roughly over here, this one, and which one did they say? South African. So my answer for number 6 is going to be South African. Left is number 8, and we remember the length for that is roughly about 10 centimeters. Now let's try reading out this paragraph and seeing if they have mentioned 10 centimeter or something about, being the shortest and the lowest, just so that we can find that answer as well. Now, here it says dung beetles work from the inside of the pad, so they're sheltered from predators such as birds and foxes. Most species burrow into the soil and bury dung in tunnels directly underneath the pads, which are hollowed out from within. This sentence we already read. These beetles make sausage-shaped. These beetles are referring to the same French ones, which we are not interested. Here we go. The shallowest means the smallest, the shortest. The shallowest tunnels belong to a much smaller Spanish species that hang like fruit from the branches of a pear tree. So, although they did not mention about them being roughly 10 centimeters, I can still try to understand that the shallowest, the smallest ones, belong to a much smaller means as smaller as compared to the other ones, Spanish species. So Spanish species, do we have the word Spanish over here? Voila. So we have got the word Spanish over here. So in this one, Spanish is going to be my correct answer. So this is how your question will become easier for you if you read out the question first, if you read out what information that question is asking from you, rather than you guys start reading out the paragraphs first. Because if you would have read, see, I did not even read the first paragraph. I did not even read the third paragraph because I got all my answers from one paragraph. How? Because I read the question first. I read what the information, I read what the diagram was asking from me. And based on that, I started looking for the answers in the paragraph. It will save you a lot of time in the long run. So this is how this topic works. So basically a very important task, also a bit, I would say a bit easier as compared to other ones. You do get MCQs, yes, no, not given, true, false, not given, all those kind of bulky questions. So this is kind of relatively a lot easier. But then if it's a bit easier, that doesn't mean you can just take it for granted. Every single topic needs to be practiced well. Every single topic needs to be given a lot of time. I hope you understood this topic. If you do have any sort of questions, you can leave them down in the comment section below. And me and Mohit will answer all of you as quickly as possible. And me and Mohit will also be coming up with a lot more videos in the future as well, like the way we're coming now. So if you haven't already, do consider subscribing so that whenever the new videos are up, you guys get notified about them straight away. All the best if you have got your exam coming very, very soon. Take care wherever you are, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.